Okay, everyone. I don't want to do a lot today because I think there was another sort of misunderstanding about what we're supposed to do today. Several of you sent in drafts of answers to questions for the first part of for last week, right? And I think I mistakenly gave you the impression, I certainly gave the morning class the impression that you needed to turn something in every week and that we would discuss it. The discussion agendas I send you, I put on the modules, are for discussion days. And today is not one of those days. What I want to show you is on the syllabus. Can everybody see this as I scroll through?
Yes.
Okay. Today is a lecture day, Tuesday, September 7th. Because I saw these things coming through, I decided to go ahead and record my lecture for today and to put it on the YouTube channel for the class. So let me just get rid of these so I can show you. When you go to the we'll go to our course in Canvas and you go to modules, right? Here's what we're doing this week: colliding cultures. Those are your colliding cultures. Whoops. Oops, that's not supposed to go there. Your colliding cultures discussion questions, but your colliding cultures lecture is here. Okay. Now, so you click on that, and it'll take you to this page. Now, I found out this morning that for some extremely infuriating reason, this comes up. So please ignore that and just click on this thing up here. See where it's colliding cultures lecture, and then it has this little arrow. If you click on that, it'll take you to the lecture. And now what I want to show you is that these lectures are, and I think I'm going to continue to do this throughout the rest of the semester. The lectures have not only me talking, right, but they have slides to explain various illustrations that are in the chapter or in the period, and also stuff that's going on, so outline of what I'm talking about. So rather than me lecture at you for an hour on Tuesdays, I think maybe the best thing to do would be to have these lectures up there, and you watch them when you can, okay? And that we use Tuesdays to discuss things more broadly, but also when something comes up, you know, I'm learning with these online courses, thousands and one things can go wrong. So we often need a day, like we needed last week, in order to fix them. So every week's going to have one of these lectures, right? We alternate between these just sort of discussion slides and then also artistic slides, slides showing. artifacts or pictures from the period. And the reason I've done it this way is because there are a lot of things I think are extremely interesting in a lecture format, and it's much easier for me. A lot of images that are important in the lecture format. And it's much easier to create a video first than it is to try to click through slides as I talk, because Panopto for some reason doesn't work for me right, and it won't upload it to Canvas. So for instance, this is a seal of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. When the Massachusetts Bay Colony was ultimately founded, it consisted of what is now the states of Massachusetts, Maine, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. And they just said, and so the colony itself was founded and come up with this insignia, right? Insignia of the Society of Massachusetts Bay in New England. And the reason I chose this to talk about, insignia are generally not very interesting, or often not very interesting. This one is, remember, so this is done by the English settlers in New England, but they put on the seal a Native American who's saying, and by the way, this is the style, cartoon bubbles, where they put the words that they're saying in the bubble. This is the 18th century version. This is the 17th century version of that. In fact, it continues like this throughout the 19th century. Come over and help us. Right? So the seal is not only showing sort of a seal showing two Europeans come over and help us, but it's showing this attitude that one of the purposes, or at least one of the stated purposes behind the Massachusetts Bay Colony, is to civilize Native Americans in a way that seems to coincide with European civilization. Okay, so this is why this sort of thing is a very important colliding cultures artifact. Okay. So unless you really want me to yammer at you during these lecture sessions and fumble with slides and stuff, I think it's better to have these recorded ones, and then use Tuesdays to talk about things, talk about all kinds of things in general. So Tuesdays might be kind of short days. So what was happening was people have been sending me these discussion questions, that I said, if you write this stuff out, I will look at it. And I think that I must have given you the impression I meant that this was due for today, to be graded for today, and handed back to you. That's not what I meant. What I meant was, let me go back to the class, and back to the modules. This is confusing. Modules. Since we had a kind of a screwy week last week, I just put Indigenous America trial run discussion questions up and said, if you want to submit them to me, write them out and submit them to me, I will read them and kind of grade them and give you suggestions and comments about how to improve your real discussion agenda questions for your assignments. So if we just ignore the Indigenous America for the time being, for Thursday, going to go to colliding. You can see here, Thursday is discussion, Thursday, September 9th. We're going to look at these colliding cultures discussion agendas. And this is what I've assigned to individual people well, groups of people actually. Okay. These are the same sorts of questions that were on that Indigenous America trial run week, but that was only a trial. So what I'd like Kylie and Mackenzie and Nathaniel and Brianna and Dylan and David and William to do for Thursday is to answer this question based on your reading in the American Yawp. Okay. And for the rest of you to do this. Now, I don't mean answer it on paper for the discussion agenda. You can write it all out if you want to, but I just mean for the purposes of discussion. So make yourself notes, make yourself an outline, make yourself index cards if you want to answer the question that you're assigned for Thursday, but you don't have to write out an essay. Where that essay thing comes in, which people sent me in the mail, right? Various people, many of you. Those are for the essay assignments that are due here. I think probably half of the class picked up on what I was saying and half didn't. So obviously I wasn't explaining it very, very well. But they're the same questions, and I mean the same questions that will show up. For instance, the colliding cultures questions that will show up on your assignment 1, are, lo and behold, these questions. Okay? And you choose, there'll be four sections in assignment 1 of 5 questions each. Within each section, you choose one question to answer. So when it comes to do your assignment for September 27th, and you are asked to choose a colliding cultures one, you can choose the one that you've already worked on. Okay. You have to write it out in essay form. It has to be a page or 2 pages, and it has to take in as many sources as possible. But it can most students will choose the one that they've already worked on. See what I mean? For the discussion. But you don't have to have written out your answer for the discussion days. Okay. Does that make better sense than the way I had explained it before? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there questions about that so far? Because I think of this as being straightforward, but I've always, well, not always, but I've almost always taught it this way. It's just I've never taught it this way online before. So that's why it might be confusing. One of the reasons it might be confusing. So if I go back again, I'll go back to share screen again and show you the syllabus. Oh man, I hate this. I just hate this. Okay, I hate the sharing screen thing. I don't hate teaching you. I love teaching you. Every Tuesday, I think it is every Tuesday, there's a lecture. The lecture will already be on YouTube for you, and it will already be listed in the link for it will already be in the module for colliding cultures. Okay. Then Thursday, we discuss the questions for that chapter. And I'm pretty sure, unless Thanksgiving sort of throws off our biological clock, it's every Tuesday is a lecture and every Thursday is a discussion. Yes, that's right. Every Tuesday is a lecture, every Thursday is a discussion. Okay. So in other words, and you don't have to submit anything on paper until the actual assignment. So what I'm going to do is those of you who submitted your Indigenous America, why did I call it Indigenous discussion? I shouldn't have done that. It should be called the New World. Oh, crap. Well, those who sent Indigenous America questions in with answers in essay format, I wanted you to do that if you wanted to have a practice run at it, and for me to read them and comment on them and say, okay, this is good, but you need to put more stuff about, you need to put more stuff from the documents in the reader here, and or this doesn't answer the question directly. You need to be more straightforward. Okay. So I will do that tonight when I'll do that today after this class is over. But a bunch of them came in, you know, at 11:59 last night. So I got the impression that everybody thought there was a piece of paper due today. Okay, so does that make sense? And please say something, because I can't really see your.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Now, let me also go back to the YouTube channel. Again, I apologize that it's on YouTube because Panopto is still not happy with me or whatever. I've done something wrong and it won't let me upload these big honking lectures to your Canvas. I guess they're too, they just want live lectures. They don't want something that's a couple megabytes. So if you look at your Massachusetts Bay Colony, or if you look at your Colliding Cultures lecture, you see the name of the course, US till 1865. Then you see the name of the lecture week, Colliding Cultures lecture. Also down here is my channel, my YouTube channel. Don't get excited. It's nothing that's gonna really rock your boat or anything. These are some of the lectures I put up this summer for the course I did this summer when we figured out that Canvas wasn't letting me put videos up. So yours are here, US till 1865. Now what I've done also is create a playlist so that here you have your US, this is my other class. You have US until 1865. You can click on full playlist. And I think this is another reason why I like doing the YouTube thing slightly better, is because these will always be here. So when you want to go back and look at the Colliding Cultures lecture, when you're working on your Colliding Cultures answer for your test, you know, you can review it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so, and if you're, by the way, dying to know about my other course, that's this one here. Whoops, yeah. So that's always going to be, they're always going to be there. And by the way, these are the ones from last semester, but that's not as important for you, okay? So let me say one sort of final thing. It's very, very difficult with these online courses. It's nearly impossible with the COVID stuff going on to have traditional tests. So I created these assignments. So I've created this class as kind of not only a traditional class with lectures and discussion, but kind of a workshop. So your assignment that is due on September 27th is made up of questions from your discussion questions in your modules. Okay. So what will happen is you'll get the assignment. It'll be broken down into 4 sections based on each chapter or each week that we did. And you will have literally these questions, okay? The same, and I mean literally exactly the same question. Within each section, within the colliding culture section or the New World section, you are to choose one question and answer it. Well, I hope I'm not repeating myself or whatever, but you will have guessed by now that Kylie, Mackenzie, Nathaniel, Brianna, Dylan, David, and William have already done a lot of the research for question 1. So what questions should they choose when the colliding cultures and in the colliding cultures section on assignment 1? To write out, what should they choose?
Number 1.
Yeah. They can choose any one they want, but they've already done the work for number 1. So they might as well develop that as well as they can. Now, if you're a total history nerd and you really, or for instance, you might really be interested, let's say Dylan, you're a total history nerd and you were assigned this question, but you're also really interested in the role missionaries played in Spanish colonization. When it comes to the assignment, you can choose to do that one if you want. Okay, you'll have already done this one for the discussion day, but you can write your essay on any one of the questions. It's just that it's good. I think it's good to double dip. You've already done 90% of the work for this, so answer that question. Or Michael Gaffney, you've already done 90% of the work for question 2. Choose that one when it comes to the assignment. So the reason I said this thing about COVID and about online classes is because I want this course to be a kind of traditional course, lectures and discussions, but also a kind of workshop-y course. So you'll learn how to write better, stronger essays as we go along. Okay, so when, for instance, those of you who sent me trial run answers for the Indigenous America thing, tonight I will type up my comments and send them back to you so you can see the type of thing that I'm looking for and the type of structure that I think works best for a course at this level. But that's not an assignment. Oops, sorry. This is the assignment. And that will come up on Canvas under, lo and behold, assignments. Now there's nothing under assignments yet because I haven't put all the questions together yet. I'm going to try to put all the questions together and have them all up there over this weekend, so that you will even know ahead of time what things to work on. Okay. So for Thursday, this Thursday, again, here we are, Colliding Cultures discussion, Thursday, September 9th. Reading American Yop, Chapter 2, American Reader, Chapter 2, American Yop Reader, Chapter 2, and also the extra material I put on here. Now, this is a YouTube link to actually a comedy routine that was done back in the late 50s or early 60s about Sir Walter Raleigh and tobacco. I just put it up as this week is kind of an easy week. This is something your grandparents or great grandparents will have heard and listened to and thought was funny. So I just put it up as an example of something that the type of thing we will want for this sort of this extracurricular stuff. Okay, so this is obviously I don't want you to be citing Bob Newhart in your answer because he's goofing around, but I put that up as a sort of fun example, and I wanted you to see how really lame comedy was before you were born. Okay, now let me stop again because I'm talking too much and I need to see who has questions. I also gave exactly the same spiel to the morning class, so I'm afraid that I might be forgetting something that I said this morning and not telling you. So, questions. Brianna, you've lit up like Hollywood Squares. You there, Brianna?
Yes.
You're lit up. Do you have a question?
No, I didn't know I was lit up.
Yep, we have whatever this yellow thing around your rectangle tells me you're lit up. Anybody? Does it make perfect sense now? Does it make better sense than it did before?
All clear on
Yeah, it
my
makes
end.
more sense.
Who just said it makes more sense? David?
I did.
Well, yeah, but who's I? David?
Oh, Sam.
David Coleman? Sam. Okay, Sam Penny. All right, thank you, Sam. I just wanted, I had obviously made it too confusing before or whatever. All right, so what I'd like you to do now is run off and watch that lecture and then start working on your questions, your assigned questions for Thursday. So let's take Sam as an example again. Sam is assigned question 4. Why did England want to create colonies? So that's what he'll work on for the discussion. And again, technically, when the essay assignment test comes around, he can choose whatever question he wants. But Sam, along with Kayla, Ellie, Alex, Catherine, and Robert will be working on question 4 for Thursday. Okay. Now, if you sent me something, if you emailed me something, check your email tonight for my comments and suggestions, okay? Okay.
Roger that.
Okay. Then if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to say adios so you can go off and watch that lecture.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Adios.
Thank you.
Thanks, Professor.